So, hey guys, this is the very first episode of Knickknack's Coffeetable, and I'm actually very glad to be able to do this with one of my best friends that I met in the past years.
5 years ago, actually. My name is Gonzo, by the way, or Gonzalo, full name, but I go by Gonzo. Dr. Gonzo, Mr. Gonzo, yeah, you name it. Your choice.
So yeah, man, we're here a little bit just to give you space to bring your story and to talk a little bit about how we connected and what plant medicines or entheogenic substances did for you and how life is for you so far as now.
Well, let's just say to begin with that it was thanks to Nick that I was introduced in the spiritual world, in this path of what I would say the awakening path. I'm a very rational guy, overthinker, and it was quite an experience to start seeing life from a completely, I wouldn't say opposite perspective, rational and spiritual, because there's a lot that in the rational world I see dots to connect. Well, the same happens in the spiritual world, cosmic world, or you just give the name that you wanted to, but they're very similar, although a lot of people can confuse them. The thing is, if you just stay, this is something very important for me to clarify, because being rationalized and being spiritual, they're just not they're just two sides of the same coin. For me, it's just two sides of the same coin.
But it is all one. Even how fluffy it may sound, but it goes way deeper than we might think. It's not only hippie talk.
That's why the deeper you go in both worlds, the deeper you find a connection between them. Mm-hmm. If you just stay, in the shadow, in the surface, like only where I'm comfortable with the rational mind and the cosmic or spiritual world, then I wouldn't say it's a waste, but if you start complaining or you start, this doesn't work, then you're not doing the work, Like, it doesn't work because you're not doing the work. So it's just like that.
But the work is like, you're talking about integration and
absolutely.
experiences.
It's, and mostly to question yourself about everything. And if you start having doubts, then question those doubts. And you start having certainties, you question those certainties. And if you start coming again to be in doubt, and you already started to question that, so eventually you just find like a cycle where you the goal is to comprehend, the goal is to understand
and to break
and to but what to awake,
break the cycle.
The
the cycle so you could grow, or what you
the cycle, when you come out, that's when you break the cycle, then you comprehend, you learn something, and then you move on, like you step 2.
Yeah, it's a very interesting way that you express it. I saw it as well in the Amazon. Like, somebody showed me, it was almost like a spiral that's moving upwards. Like you can see from birth to your death, like life grows. And you can choose like to stick in the cycle, or when you manage to break a pattern, it's like a spiral rather that goes up, instead of that you're twisting in the same circle.
Indeed.
Again.
But that's nice to say, because if you see the spiral from above, then you're always in the same spot. It's like you're just... But then you
change perspective.
You change perspective, and you're just like, let's imagine. I always say, how to imagine this. Let's say you're in the void, in the vacuum. There's nothing around. Let's say like everybody. I'm pretty much in that at this point of their life, everybody has to watch Matrix. So you remember that scene, like they're gonna go break into the building, and they are like in this white space. Like, okay, why would you need guns? And then in the movie they show you boom, guns. We're not talking about we need guns, but let's just imagine yourself in that white void, and then all of a sudden, okay, you just step around, and then you imagine this spiral on the ground, 2D if you see it from above, and then you just imagine that spiral, just you give it like a Z perspective, like high. You give it some height. To something that is 2D, you give it like 3D. So the spiral.
I see.
You just like you pick it and you stretch it all the way up. So then your spiral doesn't become anymore something that if you start at one point and then you turn all the way around, you end up in the same place. You go up, so you don't end up in the same place, but a little bit higher than the beginning. So
Like
you
different-
understand a little bit more about the path or everything. And so every time you understand or you go around the cycle, you always end up a little bit higher from the initial.
If you manage to break the circle,
And if you manage to break the circle. But yeah, I mean, the whole point of seeing things from a different angle, a different perspective, it's, in my personal experience, the way to comprehend, the way to understand, the way to grow. Otherwise, I stay in the circle, and I go around and I go around and I go around, and that happened a few times, and that's how I lost my mind 6 times in Belgium.
Yeah.
I mean, I had to push through madness to grow, but of course, yeah, it's important to keep pushing through. Otherwise, yeah, you stay crazy.
Yeah.
You stay crazy, and when you stay crazy, you cannot grow. I mean, you just can't. It kind of sounds almost like funny to say you stay crazy, but it's not a fun road, guys. It's just not fun to be crazy. I mean, if you're surrounded by crazy people, you just check into a mental asylum. Okay, everybody's crazy. You're crazy. You don't really bother. But out there, to stay crazy, nobody listens to you. Nobody understands you.
It's a very difficult thing.
You keep doubting of yourself. You cannot really move forward. And no, if everybody's crazy, fantastic. If you are the only one that feels crazy, no fun road. That's not a fun road.
Would you say that this is something very specific to Belgium that you experienced? That it's like difficult to talk about this exploration, new perspectives, developing your mind and your spirit, just
well, my experience in Belgium has been hard, really hard. I'm from Argentina, just to say, and I left my country being very, very angry with my country, with my people, the mindset over there, thinking like everybody's on its own, very selfish, raised in a very supportive and warm family. I had always the full support of my family, but I was completely not fitting in the country. Like, I born in the wrong country. So my parents helped me choose a country anywhere in the world. I chose Belgium because I had a friend who married. Long story short, I ended up in Belgium. To realize after 5 years there that it was almost a lot worse than in Argentina.
What was it, 2017, I think?
2017, August 2017, I started to live in this co-housing project in Ghent. That's where I met, for my first day, that's where I met Nicky. He helped me to set up my room. I had nothing. To my surprise, like I said, it was the beginning of the co-housing project. And when I was introducing the room that I was going to rent, it was furniture, it was everything. Then my first day, I go to my room completely empty. And I was like, oh, I got nothing. I literally got nothing. I had only a suitcase and a backpack. I don't have a mattress. I don't have nothing. So, wow, this is how my journey starts. Like, okay, I arrived in August to Ghent, okay, I just said that. But when I began my entire journey, that I landed in Madrid in June, it started hard. Because I had a plan to stay at least a week in an apartment in Madrid. And when I arrived, the very same day I landed in Madrid and I went to the apartment, the person that was hosting me said to me, there's been a change of plan, you cannot stay here. That was my first day. That's how my life started from scratch. So I was like, shit.